Good morning. I am doing it. I'm proving mind wrong again. I don't feel like it. I don't want to run. I'm too tired. I can't run. It's too hot out. Well, phooey on mind. Mind is saying all this. It can say all this even as you're putting your runners on, even as you're getting your clothing on, even as you're stepping out the door. It'll still be saying that. And haven't you seen that? Isn't that the most amazing thing? How it can be saying you can't do something as you're doing it. It just shows you how ridiculous it is, how powerless it is. And so, it's not that you shouldn't have these thoughts. It's not that you have to stop them. We just had somebody in our community last night really get that. Really get that you don't have to control the critical mind, the critical thought. What you need to do is just wake up from it. Realize it's only happening here. It's not actually happening. And it can't stop you from doing anything. Because it's not you. You're not it. And, it's just an experience like any other, like the weather. It's kind of fun doing this on the trail because I pass all kinds of people. Sometimes they're on a bike. Bikers and runners, they tend to say hi. They tend to wave. Some people who are lost in their minds are just walking along like this. They don't even look up. They don't even look at you. They don't even recognize you exist, you are, that this moment exists. So you never know what you're going to get. I just passed a few. So, here I am, doing what mind said couldn't be done, and even doing what the body seemed to say couldn't be done. In the past, I get knee swelling, I get knee pain, mostly leg pain, but what I've realized is that's just the body saying, something's wrong here, I'm not ready yet. And so, I would ice the knees, and today, I exercised, I stretched, I strengthened before, and so far, so good. I might get to go 3K. And that's the goal, as some of you know, to go 3K and then go 5K. And then do it in a race. Just for the fact of doing it, just to have a goal. Because a goal can help you overcome the mind. A goal can help you realize the mind can't stop you. The mind can't limit you. There may be some physical limitations in the moment, which perhaps, with some work, a different approach, you can overcome. But to just accept a thought that says, oh, I can't do that, without even testing the reality of it, without giving it a go, a sincere go, without doing everything you can, you accept a limitation upon yourself, upon life. There was a time 4 years ago, I can't believe it's been 4 years, where I couldn't walk up the stairs without huffing and puffing. Morning. Someone looked at me a little bit strange. Maybe they think I'm talking to myself. Who knows what the mind read is? Who knows? That could be totally wrong. Oh, that was cool. One of these bikes with really big fat wheels. Yeah, as I was saying, there was a time 4 years ago already. Some of you have been around since then. Some of you remember that experience that I had. Hey, Liz, that experience of not being able to walk up the stairs without huffing and puffing. And I believe the mind that said, you're just out of shape. Who's that there? I can't see it. Penny, hey, Penny, long time no see. So I used to believe this. Well, what that did was enable me to ignore the body, ignore the messages of the body that was saying, hey, something's wrong here. Houston, we have a problem. Something needs to be done. And it wasn't until one day I was standing there in front of the dishes, doing the dishes, that suddenly my heart leapt out. Felt like it leapt out of my chest. Didn't actually. And I felt weak and nauseous, and nearly passed out. And I went and sat down, and it came to my attention, I wonder if something is wrong. Actually, I wonder if I need to do something. But then it passed and I ignored it. Why? Because I was busy doing other things. I have this ability to ignore the mind because the mind is not what I am, and to ignore the body because the body is not what I am. But it's not recommended, particularly in that moment. So the next day, a friend who knew that this had happened, hey Liz, again. The next day, a friend who knew that this happened called me and said, hey, are you still in crisis? And I was like, crisis? What are you talking about? And then I remembered what she's talking about. It was the day before. I'm like, crisis? Should I be in crisis? Was that a crisis? Should I be doing something about that or paying attention to that? And even though my heart wasn't leaping out of the chest, there was still a problem. I recognized, finally, this is not how I used to be. And I don't accept that it's merely being out of shape. It's a little bit over the board. So I started to pay attention, do the reality check, tested my blood pressure, heart rate, all that stuff. And indeed, there was a problem. On top of that, it was asthma and wheezing. Most of that kind of snuck up on me. I kind of got acclimatized to it, kind of used to it. You think it's normal. And that's what most people do with the mind. They think it's normal. They think it's real. And if you think it's real and normal, you don't question it. And so I started to question. And I started to notice that this was actually a bit of a problem. So, hey, Barbara. So I called Telenurse. We have this service in Ontario. You can call and tell them your symptoms. And they tell you whether you should go to the hospital or not, which is kind of cool because then you don't clog up the hospitals if you don't need to be there. But also you don't ignore something that might need paying attention. So I called Telenurse and they said, you know what? I think you should go to the hospital. And they said, don't drive. So I got a friend to take me. And I got there. And I laid down for a while because you know how it is in hospitals. It takes a long time. Usually, not always. But I laid down and after a long time, a doctor came to see me and I was all wired up. And the doctor said, so what are you here for? And I told him what was going on. And I said, my heart rate is skyrocketing and my blood pressure is skyrocketing. And they're like, it's not happening now. The machines were showing everything was normal. So, and I said, yeah, but, and I didn't know what to say. What can you say? So, you know what the doctor said? I couldn't believe it. Shocked the crap out of me. The doctor said, getting old sucks. What? I said, I am sorry. I refuse to accept that lifestyle, not moving, couch potato, eating poorly. I'll accept that. Aging, I've seen many an old folk out there still running races. So there's not some factual, actual reality about aging that makes you sick. Sickness and aging, not the same thing at all. So anyway, they sent me home, because what else could they do? As soon as I started walking again and got home, I knew something's wrong. I don't know what, but something's wrong. So I watched for a few more days, and it was getting worse. And I had a machine at home that would check my blood pressure and my vital signs. And I was using it, watching very, very closely. And then I realized I feel worse standing up. So I started to experiment. Well, first I Googled. I said, so Google, is there a thing where your blood pressure and your heart rate goes up when you stand up? Sure enough, I found a thing called POTS, P-O-T-S, Postural Orthostatic Tachycardia Syndrome. Well, it's a syndrome. It's a symptom It's a set of symptoms. It's not a thing. But they call it a thing because they don't know what else to do with this. So then I said, well, let's find out if that's real and true. Does my heart rate and blood pressure go up when I stand up? And sure enough, I couldn't believe it. I tell you, I did it like 8, 10, 12 times that night. I lay down for a while, took readings, everything was okay. I stood up, took readings, bang. As soon as I stood up, blood pressure went up. Longer I stood up, heart rate went up. So, I had a doctor's appointment because I knew that this wasn't over, but it was a week away. And even though the mind was saying, I'm okay, the body was saying something else. There's something going on, and it shouldn't be ignored, and take care of it now. This is the joy of now, the reality of now, when you realize it. So, I called telenurse again. And I told them my experience of going in the hospital and getting sent home, and then having realized it happens when I stand up. And they sent me home. Sorry, got some bikers coming at me here. Yeah, so I told the telenurse they sent me home and that what was happening now, what I'd realized. And she said, okay, I want you to go back to the hospital in an ambulance. Okay. So I get back to the hospital. Once again, I'm laying down for a long time. Well, I've been laying down for some time anyway. And doctor says, what's the problem? It's a different doctor this time, unfortunately. And I told him what was happening. Doctor said, okay, stand up. So I stood up. And all the alarms went off. Ding, 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 ding. Irregular heartbeat, rising blood pressure. And I am at the halfway mark. I'm going to show you what I do at the halfway mark. I come to this here sign and I touch this right here. It's like my turning point. It's like my success point. And now I run back. And so far so good. No body problems, no pinging. Certainly no mind telling me I can't do it, it can't be done. I think I'm going to make it the whole way without running. 3 kilometers that will be. And you will come with me. So, doctor says, hey Marilyn. Doctor says, sit down. Okay. And they go take some blood and do some tests. And a little while later, I hear emergency doctor talking to heart specialist, cardiologist. I have no idea what's going on. I've never seen this. What do you think it is? I knew they were talking about this body mind. And he comes back. He tells me he phoned the cardiologist. And what they've decided to do is give me a heart pill, a beta blocker. This is a serious medication. And I was 50 years old when they put me on a beta blocker. Morning. Afternoon, I should say. And what it does is it forces your heart rate to slow down. Now, they also booked me an appointment with the cardiologist, but it was like 2 months away. And I was to stay on this heart pill until I saw him. But I thought, it felt like that is not real. This can't be real, and I have a heart problem at 50 years old. My lifestyle isn't bad at all. And so I told my doctor, after a week of being on it, it was weird being on it. It was like being pulled down into slow-mo. I mean, it was good that I could stand up without my heart rate and everything going wonky, but it was weird. So I told my doctor, I wanna try and go off it after a week. And she had pretty much decided that I had POTS, this postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. This is 4 years ago for those of you who've just joined me, where I couldn't even walk up the stairs without huffing and puffing. I was like a 90-year-old with heart and lung failure. Anyway, she said, well, you can try. I said, yeah, I want to try. This is the reality check. This is a test, right? So, but tell me how to get off it. So she said, if it were me and I wanted to do that, this is what I would do. So she told me how to gradually wean off it, and that it would take 3 days till it was completely out of my system and not having an effect on the heart. I said, okay, here we go. I was counting down the days to see what would happen. I mean, the worst that could happen would be I go back on the bill if I started to notice something, right? And 3 days came and went. Nothing happened. I could stand up again. I could walk again. There was still something wrong, but this was stopped. So that started me on a quest to find what the hell is going on? What is going wrong? What is causing my heart rate to soar? And the doctors weren't much use. And I was just waiting for the cardiologist. So I did my own research. And long story short, a lot of things that I found helped, but it really wasn't resolved until I quit eating wheat. It turns out I have some kind of a sensitivity allergic reaction to wheat. And prior to my heart leaping out of my chest, I was eating a lot of wheat. I was practically only eating wheat. And who's that? Sheridan? That you, Sheridan? I need my glasses. Let's see. Here it is. Hey! Oh, there's Marianne. Cool. So, everything, all the asthma, the rattling in my chest, the heart rate, the blood pressure, in 24 hours went away and got better when I quit eating wheat. Incredible. And then I went on the whole thing of, am I celiac, yada, yada, yada. But because things had been set in motion, all the other things that are life-threatening, were looked at first. Do you have an anaphylactic allergy to wheat? No, negative. Do you have a heart problem? I did get to see the cardiologist. He wired me up for 2 weeks. He followed my heart, said your heart is fine. It's an innocent bystander to something else. Then I went to an asthma specialist. They did the first tests, nothing. They did the higher tests, nothing. And during the biggest, meanest test he could give me, he gave my lungs full-on hit of crap to see if I would have an asthma reaction. Nothing. He sat across from me and he said, why are you here? Because he doesn't see people unless they generally have an asthmatic response. And I said, because I was in the hospital with asthma. And he said, well, you don't have asthma. I don't know what it was, but you don't have asthma. Well, it turns out there's wheat-induced asthma reaction. Found that out by Googling. So if I ate wheat and within 3 hours went and exercised, I would be having asthma. So it's a temporary thing, and it wasn't elicited by him putting stuff in my lungs. Fascinating. You've got to do your own research. You've got to be your own experimenter. You've got to be your own reality check. Use all the tools that you have, certainly, but you've got to get real. And I am still running about halfway back to the end of this. No real pinging yet, certainly no asthma, no allergies, no heart problems. 4 years ago, if I had stayed on that pill because the doctor told me that you have POTS, I wouldn't be running here now today. I wouldn't probably maybe even be talking about going beyond the mind as vehemently as I do. So go beyond the mind and listen to the body. The body doesn't speak, it doesn't have words. It directly tells you. So sift out the two. And most of our pain, the mental, emotional pain, is not the body speaking to you. It's the mind hurting you. Actually, you hurting the mind. You engaging thoughts, ideas that are untrue. That is what causes our pain. Doesn't it make sense that something that's untrue would naturally be there to save you via pain. That it's naturally not good to touch something that is not real or that is not good for you. The not real is not good for you. Just like touching a stove. It's real, but it's also not good for you. Put my glasses on for Liz here. Sheridan says, that's crazy, but disappointing at the same time. We rely on these professionals. Yeah, don't rely 100% on them. Nobody ever told you to do that. You've got to be your own health advocate. You've got to do your own research. You got to use your own head too, because doctors can get tunnel vision in the mind. They have movies in the mind just like you do. So you have to open beyond, and keep opening beyond. Liz said, what a wonderful story. Made me smile from ear to ear. Inspiring indeed. Wonderful. So, I don't have too much further to go. But I have never ran continuously and talked nearly continuously. This is a little passage I have left here. And so I am noticing the body to be a little tired, and maybe I've not been running quite as mindfully as I could have. And I'm feeling a little ping in the left knee, and usually it's right knee. So just goes to show you. I will give the knees a lot of TLC when I get back with some ice. And I didn't even stop for water this trip. Usually I do that. But I am adamant, no matter how long it takes, no matter how slowly or gently I've got to go, that I am going to get to the finish line with you today. And this will be 3 kilometers non-stop while talking. Ha-ha. So, hope you stay with me. Encourage me on. And yet, I will listen to the body. If something starts to hurt so much, I think there's damage being done, I will stop. Because it's only logical. And injury takes a long time to recover from. My goal is to be able to work up to 5K so I can go in that race. So I will not be injuring myself. Whew, almost there.
Still don't really know.
Now you can't see the turn off yet, but it's not far. It's close to the right. I'll let you know when we're there, and that's when I'm done. Done the run anyway. Yep, slowing down, taking care of that knee. It's not really the knee, it's kind of on the outside of the knee. So some more strengthening and stretching, I think, is in order. Thanks for being with me here today. I hope it's inspiring, and I hope it inspires you to get real, to really pay attention to the difference between what's going on up here and what you're actually seeing, touching, tasting, smelling. Okay, sensing. Come to your senses. It's your friend. It will save you. It'll save your butt, like so many of our members have shared and will be sharing this week. And if you can, join me in head to heart healing. And this is my path home. And I'm nearly at the finish line. This will be a success on the path. Another person giving me a funny eye. In the old days, if you were seen by yourself talking, they thought you were crazy, thought you were insane. It's a bit more acceptable now, but not entirely. Not everybody realizes you're on the internet, live. Or talking to anybody else. Sometimes they might even think I'm taking a picture of them or something. There's that. Mind movie too. This is the finish line, folks. This is my street. And I'm about to cross it. Here we go. Yay! Woohoo! And the pinging in my knee is gone. Whew. Now I can have a drink. Normally I would drink earlier, but kind of hard to drink and run and make it all the way. Yeah! Pleasure to have you. Kept me company, Liz. That was awesome. I don't know how long it took, but maybe by the length of this video, I'll have an idea. I'm not timing me yet. I don't care about time. I just want to make it. Oh, any questions on that? Woohoo! I'm gonna go have a shower and then I'm gonna do another live probably. If there's any questions, I'll come back and answer them. I hope you join me in the Head to Heart healing so that you can realize your true self and your true potential and go beyond all the limitations that mind has ever offered you, which you have ever believed, because it's not true of you. So, hey Esther, good to see you there. Sorry, I just finished my run and I'll just be hanging up here, but you can watch the replay. It was awesome. All right, I'll see y'all in a bit. I'm going to have a shower. You know what to do until we meet again. Keep it real and enjoy yourself just because you can.